Investors are interpreting this as a sign of good things to come to former Reagan economic advisor Art Laffer on all of this. And Art, I mean, we've seen dicey Supreme Court appointments. We've seen those that ultimately fell apart. By and large, they don't get to be this acrimonious, but it has been more the rule than the exception of late. Where do you think this goes, and how do you think it changes things in that body we're looking at now, the Senate?
Well, I saw it with Bork as well, which was really very acrimonious, and Bork lost.
That's right.
And then you got Clarence Thomas, I mean, who won by a very close vote. I mean, this is par for the course from time to time, Neil. And I wouldn't take it too seriously. I think in a year or two, the Democrats and Republicans will start working together. But I just want you to understand, I am not a fly fisherman, so I don't know what I know about any of this.
You know, when I was a kid, I used to think, why are they fishing for flies? What are they doing?
But there you go.
Let me ask you this. I mean, some have seized on this as proof that when the president wants something, and given the meager majority he has in the Senate, he can get it. And that this is, you know, embedding the rules to get it. Republicans come back, as you know, Art, and say, well, we're only doing this because Democrats push this on us.
Yeah,
cabinet
exactly.
Having said that, do you think it's the wind at the back for the president on matters I know near and dear to you, like the tax cut package? Because I'm beginning to think that one looks dicey. What do you think?
Well, I think what you said earlier is correct. I don't see how it gets a real tax package, how it gets done this year. And if it does get done this year, how it's made retroactive to the beginning of the year. You're talking about personal income tax rates.
I think that's out. I think both are out myself.
Yeah, but I do believe a corporate tax, very focused, could be done this year. But I don't know if it will be, but I think it could be. But you're right. I don't think this year is going to be the one. And when they do it, Neil, like we did in '81, they phase the tax in because of this pay-for nonsense. And so our tax cut really didn't begin until January 1st, 1983. So I'm not optimistic about it being done this year, but I am very optimistic about it being done. And in the long run, getting it done is far more important than the hour, the day, the month you do get it done.
So delayed but not denied. I hope you're right. I want to be wrong. Believe me, this one I want to be wrong on.
If you think it's denied, I don't think it'll ever be denied on this one.
All right. I hope you're right, because I think, left to right, I think our economy needs that. The Federal Reserve is out of the stimulus business, so it's up to that sort of thing to do it. Here's what worries me, though. If you get just the corporate tax relief, which would be welcome, I can't see them even settling differences within the administration on some of the issues in this tax cut. We're already getting reports, Wall Street Journal and others have said that the administration can't come to agreement on a border tax, can't come to agreement on a value-added tax, can't come to an agreement on whether millionaires should have a minimum tax level, sort of like a Buffett rule thing. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe Speaker Ryan was onto something earlier today when he intimated, well, the Senate, they do things slowly. The White House hasn't given us, I'm paraphrasing here, a clear signal what they want. Shouldn't they have figured all this out by now?
Well, not really. This is a very young administration with a bunch of people who are totally inexperienced, are just starting to work together. Of these people were all appointed because of their political connections, not because of their competence or ability to work together. You know, this administration will evolve just like it did with us in the 80s.
Yeah, but in the meantime, you remember what happened because that tax cut was phased in and delayed. I mean, Republicans lost 20-some-odd seats. I mean, so I know you're right to say that we overcome these differences, but I don't know if they can.
I don't know if they can either, but, you know, you really don't have a choice in it because all of these people have to learn to work together. Competence has to rise. I've never seen people express this type of conflict when you have a good, smooth-working administration. And it takes time to get that smooth working. It really does. We had Dick Darman, we had George Bush, we had Bob Dole, we had Baker, we had all of the anti-Reagans. If you remember the $98 billion tax increase in 1982, all of that stuff came through. This administration will start working together, will understand what it takes to create prosperity. And we didn't get the big one until 1986, Neil, where we dropped the highest rate to 28%. We went down from 14 brackets down to 2 brackets, and we dropped the corporate from 46 to 34%. So that occurred in 1986. Indexing didn't happen until 1985. So you give this administration time. They're going to be in for 8 years, and they'll get it all done.
You are smoking something now. I mean, I don't know, because I knew the Reagan White House. I covered the Reagan White House. This is not the Reagan White House.
That's for sure, but the Reagan White House wasn't the Reagan White House either. If you remember Al Haig, and you remember all of the stuff that occurred there in the beginning of the Reagan White House.
And then of course, we remember the whole Bork thing when we talk about Supreme Court. You're absolutely right.
Bork,
I'm just saying, a lot of things have to be just right, my friend, and they don't have an Art Laffer guy, a supply cider guy there whispering in their ear. In fact, they have all these crazy Keynesians, you know.
Well, we didn't get George Shultz until 1982. Remember that? I mean, and he was the single most important person in the Reagan administration in the full 8 years. So, you know, I'm just not worried. Everything. Life is a marathon, Neil. It's not a sprint. And you know, my favorite movie.
I don't like sprinting or having to do a marathon.
I can't sprint. There's no way I can't do a sprint unless it's downhill.
Okay.
Then I can really do a sprint.
You're a good man and a patient man.
You're wonderful, Neil. Thank you very much.
Art Laffer, one of the greatest economic minds of the last century. I can say that because, well, it's the truth.